So we've had some time now for the weapons to settle down inside their respective categories inside Warzone, and in this video we're going to be going over what are the 5 best close range weapons to use in Season 5. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns and weapon comparisons, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on that channel too. But like I said, this video is all about the close range options that are currently inside Warzone. Not all of them necessarily have to be SMGs, but most of them will be, and we're going to be going over what are the best close range options. So kicking this list off at number 5, we actually have the Renetti pistol. Now, the Renetti pistol is a weird one because you'd never think this pistol is going to be one of the best close range weapons to use, but I'll explain exactly why it is one of the best close range weapons to use. Now, the first thing you don't want to do is put on that burst mod. Now, that is the weirdest thing because this is what makes this gun actually viable, but it's not really anymore, especially if you're on this weapon in akimbo. This gun actually has the same TTK as the akimbo M19s before they got nerfed, and they never actually nerfed the Renetti pistols as well, which is quite surprising. So you actually do get that super fast TTK at close range, and now that every other weapon, including the sidearm pistols and the SMGs, have had a TTK increase, this is one of the fastest killing guns in the game right now. So like I said, it is a great option for most people. So for the muzzle, you do want to run the mono suppressor for the sound suppression and the damage range. Like I said, skip over the barrel entirely, you do not need it whatsoever. You do want the lightweight trigger so you can spam the trigger as fast as possible because you're going to be using it semi-automatic this time. Then for ammunition, you go for the largest mags possible, of course, because you do want to have as many bullets as you can, because you won't be able to ADS with this build because, like I said, it is an akimbo build. Then you do want the 5mm laser for the best hipfire accuracy. And lastly, you do want to go for that akimbo attachment. And not only is this great when it comes to TTK at close range, I've seen people use this at 10 meters and still hit shots with me, so it's really weird, and I started using it myself more recently. But on top of that, it allows you to run ghost or tempered on your first loadout as well, whilst having some very powerful secondary weapons. At number 4, we actually have the Gallo 12 shotguns. Now, shotguns are pretty viable inside Warzone now, especially if you're on the certain shotguns such as the Street Sweeper, or even the Hauer 77 shotgun's pretty good too. But the Gallo is definitely the best. First of all, it's semi-automatic, but on top of that, it has like an insanely fast TTK, and most SMGs just can't compete if you're below 8 meters or so. So, like I said, this is one of the fastest killing guns in the game now, and it involves no skill to use a shotgun as well. You don't even need ADS with these kind of guns. So, like I said, it's almost a no-brainer to choose something like this, especially if you're starting out in Warzone. So you do want to use the agency choke for the sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, and damage range, which is the most important thing. Then for the barrel, you do want to use the reinforced heavy barrel for the effective damage range boost and the fire rate bonuses as well, because you want to be able to spam this really quickly. And again, like I said, you want to extend out that damage range as far as you possibly can, getting it closer to that 8 meter distance. Then you do want to choose the 5mm laser for the best hip fire accuracy possible. It does give you a con to aim down sight time, but it's just something you're going to have to take because, like I said, the main focus of this weapon is to hip fire. You do not want to ADS with this gun, and that is where it's most powerful. Then for the stock, you want to choose the no stock attachment. It allows you to hip fire a bit quicker because you get the faster sprint to fire time. It does make your hip fire accuracy a little bit worse, but is not as significant as if you use the SAS combat stock or the marathon stock. So the no stock's definitely the best option here. And then lastly, you could choose the 9-round tube or the 12-round tube, but either which way, it doesn't really matter. I'd go for the largest mags possible. It will still take you quite long to reload this weapon, however, because it does load in 1 shell at a time. So that is the drawback of using this weapon, but you do trade that off for some of the best TTKs in the game. Speaking of best TTKs in the game, again, we have another gun that kills pretty quick in Warzone, and that is the OTS-9. Now, this is the fastest killing SMG in the game right now, and that is the reason why I have to put it on this list, because SMGs need to have a really good TTK, and I feel like this gun has it. But the second thing that SMGs need to have as well is really good movement, and again, this gun has it because it is a Cold War weapon. Now, there is only one build that works for this gun, and I'll explain to you why this is the best build. I've tried out so many, and none of them just really work quite as well as this one. So you do want to choose the GRU suppressor, because the main thing you want out of this is the effective damage range boost. because this gun doesn't have very good damage range, especially for that first damage drop-off point where you want to extend out that fast TTK as far as possible. You do need the GRU suppressor, and it also helps with recoil as well. Then for the barrel, you need to use a task force, and this is going to give you that faster strafing speed whilst extending out that damage range once again. Like I said, these are very important stats that you need to be considering when using this weapon. You then want to go for the VDV 40 round fast mags. Now usually I would recommend the Spetsnaz 40 round mags, or just anything that's not the last mag option on most guns, and that's because you get a faster ADS with the Spetsnaz 40 round. Now you do get the faster ADS with the Spetsnaz 40 round, and I try and reload with it. It always ends up not filling up the mag on time, and I feel like I always get caught out without any bullets on this gun, which is really annoying. So that's why I always go for the VDV 40 round fast mags. It's pretty much a must attachment when it comes to the OTS-9. You have to use this. Trust me, if you're not using this magazine attachment, then you are missing out a lot, and you'll understand what I mean when you try it out. Then for the rear grip, you do want to choose the Serpent Wrap, and this is going to compensate for this mag as well as that GRU suppressor for you, and that's why I skipped over the laser attachment. Now if you don't think that the ADS is that slow, go for the Tiger Teeth Spotlight, but like I said, I do think the ADS is pretty slow on that if you do not have the Serpent Wrap. Then for the stock, you do want to choose the KGB Skeletal stock. This is the best stock for the OTS-9. It gives you the strafe speed and the sprint to fire you need, and that is the best build for the OTS-9, and this is the fastest killing SMG in the game. At number 2, we have an SMG that just feels great to most people. If you look at pro players, and if you look at anyone that's playing Warzone, they will revert back to using the Bullfrog most of the time, because it is a very easy gun to use. It's got very low recoil, therefore you're getting closer to your theoretical TTK with this weapon, which isn't the best, but considering you might be missing shots with some of the other SMGs, you will be getting a pretty decent TTK with this gun. On top of that, you do get a good damage values up to about 20 meters with this SMG as well. So if you're trying to use it as like a kind of sniper support or just a long range SMG, then it is a great option. It's got clean iron sights, and the movement's also great too. So for the build, it's very similar to the OTS-9 build. You want to use the GRU suppressor for the sound suppression, bullet velocity, recoil control, and damage range. You can then go for the task force barrel for the strafing speeds and the bullet velocity as well. Then you can go for the Tiger Teeth Spotlight, but personally, like I said, I've been preferring to use the Serpent Wrap just because I think it is the better option here. You already get pretty decent movement with Cold War weapons anyway, and I would mainly focus on that strafe speed if I was trying to choose some attachments. Then for the stock, the KGB Skeletal stock is definitely the best for the Bullfrog as well. You get that ADS movement speed, and you also get the sprint to fire time as well. And lastly, you've got two different options here. You can either choose the 65 round mags, which gives you a larger magazine capacity to take on multiple squads, which I would recommend maybe for trios or quads if you're playing those game modes. Or if you're playing maybe solos, or if you're playing duos for example, I would go for the Bruiser grip for the better hipfire accuracy and the better movement speed. So there we have, probably without a doubt, the best SMG for trios and quads. And if you're not using this weapon and you're getting caught out reloading so much with some of the other SMGs in the game, make sure you give the Bullfrog a try, because it is an amazing weapon to use. Last but not least, we have what I believe to be the best SMG in the game, and that's for multiple reasons. First of all, its damage per mag is not the best, but you can definitely down 2 enemy players with the magazine that you can use on this gun. The movement is absolutely insane. It's the fastest moving SMG in the entire game. On top of that, you do get some really clean iron sights. The recoil is not too hard to manage, and the damage doesn't drop off nearly as hard as some of the other SMGs in the game. But also, you do get a pretty reliable TTK. Now, it's nowhere near as good as the OTS-9, but it's nowhere near as bad as the Bullfrog either, so you're actually getting a pretty consistent TTK with this gun, and that is why you see most players choose to go for the MAC-10. Now for the build, again, it's very similar. Agency suppressor for the sound suppression, recoil control, bullet velocity and damage range. You do want to go for the task force barrel for that strafe speed bonus as well as the bullet velocity. Then you do want to choose the Stanag 53 round drum mags, which I do believe is the best mags for this weapon. Then I personally again would go for the Serpent grip. You can go for that Tiger Teeth Spotlight on the MAC-10, it just makes you zoom around the map way quicker. But I do think having that faster ADS to compensate for the mag as well as the suppressor is more important, so you can get your shots off much quicker than any of your opponents using the Tiger Team Spotlight, because that is the usual build for the MAC-10. And then lastly, you do want to choose the Raider stock, and again that's for that sprint to fire time as well as your strafing speeds. And like I said, this is the #1 best SMG in the game, especially if you use one of the blueprints with the clean iron sights. You will still be able to land your shots even at a 20-meter distance. So there we have it. Those are the top 5 best close range weapons to use inside Warzone. If you enjoyed this video and you learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we'll try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel. We do post extra content over there as well. And thank you very much for watching.